30 unmistakable signs she has a secret crush on you. Want to know if she likes you without awkward guesses or embarrassing misreads? These 30 subtle signs will help you decode her hidden feelings. And the last one? It's the key to knowing when she's just waiting for you to make a move. Before we get into that, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel if you've not already, and ring that notification bell to stay up to date on all our videos. 1. She takes mental snapshots of things you like, and casually brings them up weeks later. When a woman secretly likes you, she listens in a way that feels casual on the surface, but is actually incredibly tuned in. You might tell her offhandedly that you love cinnamon-flavored coffee, or mention that your favorite movie growing up was The Iron Giant. You don't expect her to remember. Hell, you might not even remember saying it. But 2 weeks later, she says, "I saw this place that does cinnamon lattes and thought of you." Or she brings up that movie in a totally unrelated conversation. This isn't random. She's quietly curating a little profile of you in her mind, one she's invested in. It's not just memory, it's emotional bookmarking. She's cataloging the things that light you up, because she cares what lights you up, and bringing them back later. That's her way of saying, "I was paying attention, specifically to you." 2. She pauses before answering questions, as if calculating the version of herself you'd like best. There's this fascinating micro-behavior that shows up when a woman has a crush. She edits herself. You ask her a basic question like, "What music do you like?" Or, "What did you do last weekend?" And there's this beat. Not a long silence, just a flicker of hesitation, like she's scanning her options before responding. What's happening in that split second is her subconscious doing a quick check. What answer will make him like me more? What version of me will match what I think he's drawn to? It's not fake. It's not manipulation. It's actually a vulnerable instinct, wanting to be chosen, wanting to be interesting to you. If you catch this moment, that micro-hesitation before an answer, understand, she's not just talking, she's crafting a signal, and it's aimed directly at you. 3. She playfully critiques you in public, but defends you fiercely in private. When a woman likes you, she might tease you in a group, make a sarcastic joke, or call out something silly you did. It can feel like she's just messing around. But the real sign to watch for? How she reacts when others criticize you. If someone else makes a similar joke and it crosses a line, she'll shut it down. She'll defend you without hesitation. And she won't even realize she's doing it. That protective instinct? That's not friendship. That's possession. It's the emotional equivalent of stepping between you and the world and saying, "You don't get to talk to him like that." Teasing in public but guarding you in private? That contrast tells you everything. She's trying to maintain distance with words, but her instincts are completely betraying her feelings. 4. She notices changes you didn't announce, like a slightly different cologne or new socks. You didn't tell anyone you changed your shampoo. You didn't brag about finally upgrading those worn-out sneakers. You just showed up, a little sharper, a little different. And somehow, she notices. She might comment on it. "Is that a new cologne?" Or just smile and ask what you're wearing today. But the point isn't that she noticed. The point is, no one else did. A woman with a crush develops what I call affectional radar. She tunes into your baseline, so any deviation, even something minor, pings her attention. This kind of noticing isn't observational. It's emotional investment showing itself through hyper-attunement. When she spots the little shifts, it's because she's watching more closely than she lets on. Before the next one, if you study the quiet signs so you can move like a tactician, drop "calculated" in the comments. Let's see who's thinking 5 moves ahead. 5. She invents micro-traditions with you, even if it's just sharing a snack a certain way. This one's subtle. You're hanging out and she casually says, "You always steal my fries," or "We always listen to this playlist when we drive." At first, it feels like a joke, but pay attention to the word "always." What she's doing is creating rituals, small recurring moments that feel unique to you two. They don't have to be romantic. They could be silly, like ordering the same weird dessert or having a fake argument over pineapple on pizza. But the fact that she's labeling them as "our thing" is meaningful. Micro-traditions are how a woman builds emotional real estate with you. It's her way of weaving herself into your story, one tiny thread at a time. 6. She waits to see who you text back in group chats, then tailors her tone to match yours. In a group chat, it's easy to think everyone's just vibing, but a woman with a crush is watching. Specifically, she's watching you, how fast you respond, who you respond to, and what kind of tone you use. If you send a joke and she replies in a similar rhythm, not an accident. If you text in lowercase or use certain emojis and suddenly she mirrors it, again, not random. This is linguistic flirting in disguise. She's trying to enter your tempo, fit herself into your digital style. And if she holds off on texting until after you do, she's not late. She's waiting to see how the social air is moving around you. 7. She hesitates to compliment your looks directly, but compliments things other women might notice. She doesn't say, "You're hot." That would be too obvious, too risky. But she does say, "That color looks really good on you," or "You have really nice hands." Think about that for a second. How often do women compliment a guy's hands? What she's doing is outsourcing her attraction through aesthetic details. She's naming things other women might notice, hoping you connect the dots. She doesn't want to come on strong, but she can't help leaking appreciation. This kind of compliment isn't casual. It's curated. She's highlighting things that suggest intimacy without exposing her feelings fully. 8. She treats your routines like rituals, asking about your morning coffee or gym schedule like sacred events. When a woman is interested, she doesn't just ask, "How was your day?" She asks, "Did you get your iced oat latte this morning?" Or, "Did you hit the gym at 6 a.m. again?" She's not being nosy. She's showing reverence for the pattern of your life. It's like she's studying you from a respectful distance, trying to understand how your world works and where she might fit into it. Your routines become fascinating to her, not because they're inherently exciting, but because you are. If she asks about the little things you do every day and remembers them, she's not just being thoughtful. She's quietly craving access to your orbit. 9. She asks strange what-if questions, as if plotting a shared future in disguise. You're mid-conversation and she suddenly asks, "What if you had to move to another country tomorrow? Where would you go?" Or, "If we had to go on a road trip with no music, what would we talk about?" These questions seem random, fun, hypothetical. But the truth is, they're not random at all. She's soft-launching intimacy, testing out how you respond to the idea of we, framing scenarios where it's the two of you, alone together, facing something, even if it's fictional. It's her way of checking how compatible your imaginations are, and whether you'd be open to her being in your future, even playfully. Don't dismiss those weird little questions. They're often love notes in disguise. 10. She positions herself as your unofficial translator, explaining your behavior to others before you even speak. This one's subtle and revealing. Imagine you're at a gathering. Someone makes a joke you don't laugh at. Before you can say anything, she jumps in and says, "He's just tired. He's had a long day." Or, "That's just his sense of humor, it's dry." That right there? That's emotional intimacy showing itself. She's internalized your patterns, understood your rhythms, and appointed herself as your interpreter, without being asked. You don't do that for someone you're indifferent toward. You do that for someone you're protectively attuned to. And whether she realizes it or not, she's stepping into a role most people reserve for romantic partners. The person who gets you better than anyone else. 11. She notices the women who notice you, and gets unusually quiet afterward. You might not even clock it at first. You're chatting with a woman at a party or receiving a compliment from a barista, and everything seems normal. But then you look over and she's quiet. Not angry, not dramatic, just withdrawn. Like she's stepped slightly out of the scene without saying so. That's not coincidence. That's territorial energy surfacing, but in a secret, hidden way. She doesn't feel entitled to show jealousy because you're not together, but she still feels it. And since she can't call it out directly, she just shuts down a little. It's a defensive retreat, a protective silence. She's not punishing you. She's protecting herself from showing too much. That's the tension of a secret crush. All the feelings, none of the permissions. 12. She gives you highly specific advice, the kind someone gives when they imagine your life intertwined with theirs. It's not just, "You should eat healthier," or "You should travel more." It's, "You'd love Lisbon. It's chill but still creative. You'd thrive there." Or, "Your voice would sound really good on a podcast. I can already hear the intro music." These aren't generic tips. They're microvisions. She's picturing you in a more expanded version of your life. And in many cases, she's placing herself somewhere in that frame. This kind of advice is deeply revealing. It shows she spent time thinking about your potential, not just your present. And that's not something people do for just anyone. When she maps out a better future for you in high definition, she's not being helpful. She's being invested. 13. She mirrors your emotional tempo. Not your words or gestures, but your pace. Most people know the obvious version of mirroring. Someone copies your posture or your slang. But the deeper, and much more telling, sign is tempo syncing. She doesn't repeat your words. She matches your energy flow. If you're feeling laid back, she slows her tone to match. If you're amped up and rapid fire, she leans in and gets playful. It's not mimicry, it's alignment. She's adjusting her emotional dial to match yours because she wants to keep pace with you. Not just conversationally, but emotionally. This kind of syncing usually flies under the radar. But once you spot it, it's loud. It says, "I want to stay in step with you. I care where your head's at." 14. She avoids finishing conversations, even prolongs them pointlessly, just to stay connected. You've said goodbye 3 times already, but she keeps bringing up one more thing. Maybe it's a random story or a half thought. It doesn't matter. What matters is that she's stretching time. Because once the conversation ends, the connection pauses, and she's not ready for that pause. This is especially obvious over text. She might leave a message slightly open-ended, just enough that you might reply, or she might ask something vague, not because she needs an answer, but because she's creating a soft excuse to keep the thread going. This isn't just about chatting, it's about lingering. When someone lingers past the natural end of a conversation, it's because the conversation means more to them than it seems. 15. She's curious about your type, but never frames the question directly. She won't ask, "Do you like me?" That's too vulnerable. Instead, she'll say something like, "Do you go for tall girls?" Or, "What kind of person do you usually date?" And while she might keep the tone light, what she's really doing is gathering intel. She wants to know if she fits the mold, or if she could become the exception. And she doesn't just listen to the answer, she studies it. She's not playing it cool. She's decoding your preferences like a puzzle she'd really like to solve. And here's the kicker. If she doesn't fit the type you describe, she might start emphasizing qualities that align more closely, without realizing she's doing it. It's a quiet kind of audition. And the role? It's definitely not just a friend. 16. She introduces small delays into plans, to gauge whether you'll chase or lose interest. This one's sneaky. You make plans, and she suddenly says, "Actually, can we push it an hour?" Or, "Can we do Thursday instead of Wednesday?" It might feel like she's flaking, but if this isn't a regular habit, it's likely intentional friction. Why? Because when a woman has a secret crush, she's often testing for reciprocity. Will you reschedule? Will you suggest an alternative? Will you seem disappointed or just let the moment go? She's not playing games. She's looking for signals. She wants to know if your interest is active or passive, if it's just convenience or connection. Pay attention to how she handles delays. Often, it's not about the schedule, it's about the subtext. 17. She downplays her own attractiveness to see if you'll argue for it. She might say something self-deprecating like, "Ugh, I look so tired today," or, "This outfit's such a mess." On the surface, it sounds like low confidence, but watch her tone. If it's half joking, half serious, what she's really doing is baiting your opinion. She wants to know, "Do you see me the way I hope you do? Will you correct me if I pretend not to be beautiful?" This isn't fishing for compliments in the usual sense. It's deeper than that. It's a quiet test. Will you see through me even when I hide? And if you do, if you offer a sincere, non-generic compliment, she'll remember it. That moment becomes part of her internal highlight reel of you. 18. She sends oddly timed texts. Not late night, but moments tied to memories you shared. This one often gets missed because it's not about timing in the usual sense. She's not drunk texting you at 1 a.m. She's messaging you at emotionally significant times. You might get a text at 4:17 p.m. on a random Tuesday that says, "Remember that weird sandwich place we tried?" You look at the date and realize that was exactly 3 weeks ago. Or she sends a song at the same time of day you listen to music together on a drive. These messages aren't random. They're time-stamped feelings. She's revisiting a shared emotional moment and inviting you to revisit it with her. It's nostalgia disguised as small talk. And no, she's not doing this with everyone. Only you. 19. She gets unusually flustered when your attention drifts. Even briefly, you're talking to someone else. Or you check your phone mid-conversation. Or you mention another girl in passing, even if it's innocent. And suddenly her vibe changes. She might cover it quickly with a joke or change the subject, but you'll feel it. A shift. A flicker of discomfort. It's not that she's controlling, it's that she's emotionally invested. And when she's not the center of your attention, it stings a little more than it should. This kind of reaction is unguarded. It's not part of a plan. It slips out before she can filter it, which makes it one of the most authentic signs that her feelings run deeper than she lets on. 20. She offers to help you with things she knows she's bad at, just to create closeness. You mention needing help setting up a new TV, or cooking something complicated, or picking out clothes, and she jumps in. "I'm terrible at that, but I'll come over and help." You might laugh and think, why would she offer if she knows she's not good at it? The answer is simple. She's not offering to solve the problem. She's offering to be near you while the problem gets solved. This is a huge giveaway, because it shows she's not motivated by success or efficiency. She's motivated by proximity. She's looking for a reason to insert herself into your real life, not just your text threads or social scenes. And if she jokes about how useless she is, that's part of the charm. She's lowering the stakes, making it safe to spend time with you, without having to explain why she wants to. 21. She creates private jokes between you, then uses them like passwords in public. There's something incredibly intimate about an inside joke. It's not just about humor. It's about shared context. And when a woman has a secret crush, She'll go out of her way to build these private references between the two of you. Maybe it's a word mispronounced on purpose. Maybe it's a joke about how you both hate the same TV show. Maybe it's just a made-up nickname. But here's what makes it a sign. She doesn't let it die. She recycles it, again and again, even if no one else gets it. Especially if no one else gets it. That's the whole point. These jokes become little emotional passwords. Ways for her to quietly remind you that you share something no one else in the room understands. It's flirtation with a disguise. And the message underneath? We're already a team. You just don't see it yet. 22. She plays down other men's attention, but watches your reaction closely when she does. She tells you that a guy flirted with her at the gym, or that someone slid into her DMs. But instead of bragging, she brushes it off. Ugh, it was weird, she says. Or, he wasn't even my type. You nod, maybe joke about it. But if you look closely, you'll notice she's watching you carefully. Almost too carefully. What she's really doing is baiting a reaction. Not because she wants to make you jealous, but because she wants to know if you care. She's testing the waters, trying to gauge if her status with other men registers as a threat to you, if it stirs anything protective, or possessive, or interested. And if you don't react at all, she might seem unaffected. But trust me, she clocked that moment. Women with secret crushes are always measuring the silence just as much as the words. 23. She notices your mood changes before you've said a word, and adjusts her energy to match. You walk into a room feeling off. Maybe you're tired, distracted, or just in a weird headspace. You haven't said anything. No one else notices. But she does. She doesn't ask directly. She just changes the temperature. She softens her voice, or jokes more carefully, or skips the teasing altogether. It's subtle, but suddenly she's meeting you where you are, not where the conversation left off. This kind of emotional attunement is rare, and it's a massive giveaway. It means she's not just observing you, she's feeling you, tracking your vibe without needing confirmation. Women don't extend that kind of bandwidth unless there's emotional weight behind it. When she adapts to your unspoken energy, it's not friendship, it's empathic attraction, and it usually runs deeper than even she realizes. 24. She downplays any time you compliment her, not because she doubts it, but because she values it too much. You say she looks good today. She laughs it off. You compliment her laugh. She changes the subject. At first glance, you might think she doesn't believe you, but that's not what's happening. What's happening is vulnerability overload. When a woman has a secret crush, your validation hits differently. It's not just words, it's proof that her feelings might be reciprocated. And that scares her, because if she acknowledges it too eagerly, she risks showing her cards. So she shrinks the moment, she makes light of it, she acts like it's no big deal. But inside, she's storing it, playing it back later, probably smiling to herself hours after you've forgotten it happened. 25. She talks about how confusing men are, while staring directly at you. This is one of the oldest disguise techniques in the book. She wants to talk about you, but that's too risky. So she shifts the spotlight to men in general. She says things like, guys are so hard to read, or why do men never just say what they mean? But if you look at her while she's saying it, she's not scanning the room. She's looking right at you, almost like she's daring you to reveal yourself, almost like she's hoping you'll hear the subtext. I'm not just talking about men, I'm talking about you. These moments are hidden in plain sight. They feel casual, even comical, but emotionally, they're loaded question grenades, tossed softly, waiting to see if you'll pick them up. 26. She gives you small, useless gifts, except they perfectly match your obscure interests. You mention once that you love an old comic book series, or that you're obsessed with a niche snack from another country. A week later, she gives you a sticker, or a magnet, or a keychain that references it. Nothing big, nothing expensive, but weirdly perfect. This isn't random. This is hyper-personal curation. She's proving, without saying, that she listens closely, remembers the little things, and understands your specific brand of joy. Small gifts like these aren't about the item itself. They're about emotional precision. She's saying, I know who you are, and I care enough to show it in the quietest way possible. 27. She creates excuses to initiate inside conversations, even when there's nothing new to say. You post something mildly interesting, and she messages you with a comment. You share a playlist, and she responds 2 days later just to mention a random lyric. You bump into each other, and she brings up a half-finished joke from last week. These aren't spontaneous reactions. They're connection strategies. She's engineering little entry points to keep the dialogue alive, not in a clingy way, in a creative, non-obvious way. When a woman crushes in secret, she often feels like she's waiting on the sidelines, so she builds her own moments, not to get attention, but to stay tethered. She wants to keep the emotional thread taut, even if it's only her pulling. 28. She pretends to forget plans you made, just to hear you bring them up again. You joked about watching a movie together, or said you'd grab coffee sometime. You thought the plan was loose, but when you bring it up again, she says, "Oh, I forgot we talked about that." No, she didn't. What's actually happening is a reconfirmation test. She remembers the moment, probably more clearly than you do, but she wants to see if you do. She wants to know if it stuck for you like it stuck for her. And when you remind her, she lights up, acts surprised, and quietly logs the win. This tactic is subtle. It's not manipulation. It's just an emotionally safe way to ask, "Am I still on your radar?" 29. She lets herself get interrupted around you, even if she never allows that with others. You're mid-conversation. Someone else cuts in. She lets it happen, smiles politely, maybe even steps aside. This might seem like passivity, but in her world, it's not normal. She doesn't let others talk over her. She usually holds her own. But around you, she softens. She allows space, not because you're more important, but because she's less guarded. Her normal conversational armor drops. She doesn't have to dominate the moment. She's content to be near you, even if she's not always at the center of the action. This is emotional surrender, not weakness. And if you notice it happening repeatedly, it's one of the more quietly powerful signs of hidden affection. 30. She holds back from confessing, but plants every seed for you to guess. This is the heart of it. She won't say it. She won't text it. She won't even whisper it when she's drunk. But she'll do everything else. She'll hint. She'll linger. She'll mirror. She'll flirt. Not enough to expose herself, but just enough to expose possibility. Every action is a puzzle piece. Every moment is an invitation. And deep down, she's hoping, praying, that you'll put it all together. Because the truth is, she doesn't want to be the one to break the illusion. She wants you to see it, to say it first, to take the risk, so she can stop hiding. When a woman has a secret crush, she lives in the tension between fear and desire, and the most unmistakable sign of all is that she's hoping you'll finally make it unmistakable for her. Up next, discover what women are easily seduced by, or learn how to tell if a woman is turned on by you. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe for more.